the Chicago 15, slot right, single receiver, Hester to the left. Press coverage, snap to Haney, throws it over the middle. Intercepted! Intercepted! B.J. Raji in the end zone for the touchdown! NFC Championship dagger! Blitz is on, Rodgers scrambles left, winds up Rainbow. He's got Cobb at the 10 to the 5, to the end zone, touchdown, and a dagger! Aaron Rodgers ducks it under center, drops to a knee, and time melts away from Super Bowl 45. The title is back in town. The Green Bay Packers are world champions of football.
The Wisconsin Sports Trilogy presents the Packers Trilogy Podcast.
Heyo, Packer fans, what's going on? Welcome to the Packers Trilogy Podcast on YouTube, the podcast for diehard Packer fans by diehard Packer fans. I am your host, Trevor. You can find me on Twitter at Bender_Trevor. Today, we are going to look at Rashan Gary, and we're actually going to look at Rashan Gary from all three games so far. I have at least one clip in each of the first three games against the Vikings, Lions, and the Saints. And we're just going to look at how he's been playing and how impressed I am with Rashan Gary in year two. Here on the first play, we're going to watch Rashan have a decent rush here, and then just a great job with his motor to get back to Kirk Cousins after he kind of over rushes him, gets behind him. Cousins steps up and is going to try to make a play down the field with his legs, and Rashan does a great job of getting back to him, making the play. Kenny Clark is in on the play as well, but again, we just see some great motor here from Rashan. Not the most technical pass rush, but good motor, and we'll get into more of his better pass rushes here coming up. On this second play, he just causes Kirk Cousins to have a terrible throw. I know typically you don't need a defender to do that for Kirk Cousins, but here on this end zone view, you get a little bit better picture of what Rashan Gary is able to do, get hands in the face. You know, as we watch this one a third time, you can watch him just take on the tackle as he's blowing up the guard at the same time. Just awesome stuff from Rashan Gary, and then getting the hand in the face and causing a terrible throw. Here on this next one, we are looking for Rashan Gary to again get in the face of Kirk Cousins. This was the big Jair Alexander interception. And again, we'll watch the end zone view here coming up that I think is very, very important. Jair makes a great play on the other end. But as you watch another play where Rashan Gary is in the face of number 8, and it causes a bad throw, and maybe Rashan Gary doesn't cause the bad throw, maybe it's just Kirk Cousins, but another example of Rashan Gary being there, being a part of the play, and this was a huge point in this game, and just Rashan Gary showed up in this one and throughout the year so far. Moving ahead to our next play, again, Rashan's on the left side of the defense. Here's Zadarius next to him. They meet at the quarterback. Just a great job. They didn't get the sack, but great job getting pressure on Cousins. And Rashan Gary does a great job on this rush, but also watches Zadarius just absolutely own that guard. We'll watch this play one more time. Just absolutely impressive stuff from both of the guys. Rashan on the outside, Zadarius in the middle, just absolutely owning their matchups and meeting at Kirk Cousins. Just great stuff there. Now we'll move ahead to the Lions game. And on this one, as you're watching Rashan Gary just get into the lap of Matthew Stafford. Actually, he puts the tackle in the lap of Matthew Stafford and then does a good job of getting his arms up and just being there and making an impact again on the throw. Not productive in terms of a sack, but great job there. Here, a little bit different play than we have been watching. This time in the run game, avoids that cut block, which I think is huge. Avoids that and then makes the play. And this is actually the play right before Zadarius gets a sack, and we'll actually see that here next. But just a great job, not allowing that to be a big run. Avoids TJ Hawkinson coming across the formation, and then just gets to the ball carrier and makes a nice solid tackle. So a nice job there in the run game. Here is Za'Darius' sack, but I do want to show Rashan Gary here. Again, having a disruptive type of play, gets in kind of the face of Stafford there, and then Stafford's got to turn around and boom, 55 is right in the way there. So again, it's not always productive in terms of sacks and different things like that, deflections at the line of scrimmage, but it's impactful plays, not necessarily productive. Here, another version of that, getting in the face of Matthew Stafford. Here, he didn't really have anyone blocking him, but gets in the way, and now Chandon Sullivan goes and makes the big play. Here, you get a little better angle. Really not anyone blocking, and the running back just absolutely whiffs, and he makes a great job avoiding that, causing an errant throw, and a great play by Chandon Sullivan, like we talked about on the Full Length podcast. Just great stuff from him as well. Moving ahead on this one, I don't know what the running back is really doing on this play for this sack. Here we get a little bit more productive of a play from Rashan Gary. Just absolutely splits the double team. Tackle thinks he's getting help. Running back does not help and just splits that double team and makes Stafford pay for that. Here is our last play of the Lions game, and this is where he meets at the quarterback with Preston Smith for his half sack of the game. Again, he had a sack and a half in this one. And it's just continually great rushes. Like, there's not a lot of off plays with Rashan Gary. It seems like he's making an impact quite a bit, and I would argue he's making an impact on a more consistent basis than Za'Darius and Preston Smith so far this year. And as a year 2 leap, you love to see it, and hopefully this ankle injury isn't too bad and we get Rashan Gary back soon, because this is the type of stuff that he can do. Moving ahead to this Saints game, this time this was a little different than any of the other plays that I put on here, and that's because, one, it's a read option, so Taysom Hill here can keep the ball. Rashan Gary plays that part of it well, doesn't allow that to happen, knowing that he's the edge defender here, and still makes a play on the tough-to-tackle Alvin Kamara. So just absolutely impressive stuff from 11 plays here from Rashan Gary. I probably could have put more on here, but I am just extremely impressed what he's been able to do so far this year. Like I said, hopefully this injury is not extensive and keeps him out an extended period of time, because he has been very, very impressive, and these plays highlight that. Not always getting the sack, but he's getting the pressure, and he's doing a consistently good job of getting the pressure. That is going to be it for us on this film breakdown. Make sure you guys keep checking in here. Make sure you subscribe and keep checking in for new film breakdown videos. I have not watched the full Saints game yet. I was just looking for some Rashan Gary clips in this one. But make sure you're on the lookout for our next film breakdown. I haven't decided who that will be yet, so make sure you check that out. Make sure you check out our full-length Packers podcast. You can find that at trilogy_pod on Twitter. We also post our Brewers Trilogy podcast content there as well. So make sure you guys are checking all of that out. But until next time, go Pack Go.